Alright, my rewatch of Season 2 of Game of Thrones, and man, this was a lot of fun to watch this season because I'd forgotten the vast majority of it. I remembered a few things, such as the very last bit involving Daenerys, and then I did remember that bit where Ms. Lannister, Lena Headley's character. I'm never going to be able to remember her first name, I think, so I'm just going to call her Lena Headley's character. I did remember the bit with her and I guess her youngest son in the throne room where she was presumably about to poison him, but then her father shows up and a few things like that. But this was just a lot of fun to watch this time. So, getting into the main storylines, first talking about the Night's Watch, I guess, because that's the simplest one to do. Well, it stands to reason, that this was going to be like the in-between act of that White Walker situation where they're just wandering through the wilderness, getting an idea of what's beyond there, and realizing that the wildlings, so to speak, actually aren't that much different from them because somehow they know about a decent amount of what's going on beyond that wall. I'm kind of curious to see how that comes, but somehow I doubt they're going to ever directly answer that question. Who knows? And then, of course, there was the wondering if Snow's uncle, because I don't think they're uncle by blood, if he's actually alive or not. And then we see the White Walkers, at the end, although we don't totally know where Snow is because it's Sam that's seeing them at the end. But yeah, that was pretty chilly. I gotta admit, even though I had seen that scene one time before, 10 years ago. Not much else to really say about that storyline, to be honest. Daenerys, like with the Night's Watchman, stands to reason that she's not going to be getting that far, especially given how many novels George R. R. Martin wanted this series to be. 7 novels, unless he says otherwise. Because, I came up with a fictional universe that I had the idea of dividing into several stories in the midst of them, and there's one particular one, I think it was the third story that I would tell, where ultimately not that much happens. It's just basically Alien vs. Predator in a sense. Yeah. But it was nice getting into Daenerys and what's that guy's name that's with her. They say his name multiple times and I can't keep track. I recognize almost everyone's face and I know their relation to several other parties, but the names, they do kind of escape me. But it is much easier for me to keep track of what's happening compared to when I was watching this 10 years ago. Way easier. Just getting into the frame of mind, and now, he's advising her, you gotta tread carefully. You have to play the long game if you want this to work. And sure, Daenerys is arguing, I have allies in Westeros. They'll come to me. Well, are they really coming to you because they remember your cause? Or do they think that you're just better than what they've got? I'm sure that that's going to be broached multiple times, because, part of the alliances that are being created here is only because there's a common enemy, So, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen once she adds herself into the mix, even though, as they say, it'll be years before the dragons are fully grown, although I wouldn't be too surprised if magic ends up helping that situation. That'll be really interesting. Yeah. So, not too much changes, except she's still got the same amount of people as before, but now, unlike the beginning of the season, they got a little bit of wealth that they can use, given how that entire city's council has been murdered by each other. Yeah, they only killed... Yeah, Daenerys, when she was there, they only killed literally a couple of people. That's hilarious. Everyone else killed themselves. Although I think it really was kind of stupid that they had not handmaiden, but I can't think of anything else to call her girl whose name also begins with D, turned traitor. To me, that seems kind of stupid. I'm sure the books explain that a little better. A little. Okay, that takes care of Daenerys' storyline. I think the best storyline to talk about next is Arya Stark's storyline. That was actually pretty creative, especially given her interactions with the head of the Lannister family, because I wouldn't be too surprised if he began to suspect that there was a lot more to her than she seemed, but he was saving it for the opportune moment, which just never came, because I guess he just fairly correctly judged that she couldn't do that much, even though, Jaqen, that guy, there's definitely something to, be done with him, or whatever group he's part of, because he's clearly not part of the Lannisters, or anything like that, because at the end there, how he legitimately changed his face, there's more to that group. Maybe not so much for the character, but that group. They're going to do something there. And I guess in hindsight, it makes total sense that Arya never gets to the wall because, well, there wouldn't be any real Night's Watch people to greet her there, you know? So, huh? But it's going to be interesting to see what happens to her, Gaiden, I think his name is, Robert's bastard son, and the other couple people that are with her, because, yeah, there's no way she could have gotten everyone that was prisoner out of that situation, but get 2 or 3 other people with her, yeah, that's totally easy to do. So I'm real curious to see what main character they end up reuniting her with first, and that's going to play a lot in the grand scheme of things. Then, that's a guy that was with Robb Stark a lot, Theon, turning traitor. Well, to be fair, there's arguments for both sides of that, because I actually do think that there was way more truths being told by both sides than there were falsehoods. So I guess he just realized, you know, I don't want people telling me what to do. I want to do things for myself, even though he's still taking orders, you know? And, like, seriously, dude, did you not have a plan? Oh, yeah, I'm going to take a restaurant. I mean, the Stark Castle with 20 people. Ha, ha, ha. You said it yourself. You took it with 20 people. And then they just gave you up first chance that they had. Yeah. It was a good speech. I didn't want to interrupt. What did you expect, dude? Come on. No, like, that was really pathetic. And then, I guess all that's left now is to talk about the, main battles of Starks versus Lannisters, but then also, Robert's siblings also going at each other. Like, I was not expecting Robert to have more than one sibling, but of course I think the novel would have made that clear, and for them to be fighting each other, because, like, I did remember the gay brother that Robert had, but I didn't know that there was another one in there, who I think is the one that was somehow involved with that fire priestess who came out of nowhere. And I'm real curious to see what happens to that character, because I don't recall them capturing her at the end. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't remember, but they do capture the non-gay brother, because the gay brother is dead, which prompts the his lover to start allying with the Starks. Starks, along with a few remnants of that group, although the relationship there was kind of not that great, and even then it's only parts of that group, because the gay brother's wife, who clearly knew that he was gay, is now trying to bribe a couple remnants of that group to become Jaime's wife. So she's going to matter a little bit more in this. Right. Though, when it came time for the non-gay brother attacking King's Landing, I was actually more in favor of the Lannisters coming out on top, really only because, for now, you know, the Lannisters have a hold over so many main characters, you know, that we care about. Arya's sister, Siesta, Peter Dinklage's character, Bronn, Shay, you know, Peter Dinklage's whore girl, and then, of course, Theon's whore is still there, though I think she only gets one scene, and I bet they're going to write off that character. Hey. That's fine, okay? I just happened to recognize that she was the same character this time. So yeah, it makes sense. Definitely more for them to triumph, but also that gets rid of the extra people in these Clash of Kings, because yeah, you had Robert's brothers, the Lannisters, the Starks, even though Robb Stark is really only after claiming revenge for his father's death, after which it seems like he fully intends to abdicate any all responsibility, but he has already betrayed the promise to not Mrs. Stark's sister, but that other person that she was close to and clearly had known pretty much her whole life, because Robb had been promised to one of his daughters, and now he goes off and marries this healer, though I did note the chemistry between them pretty quickly, even though clearly at least one of them is going to die in this story. Because, like, come on, I've seen too many stories like this. One of those two is going to die. Mark my words, one of them will. Right. Then also, Lena Henley's character, like, I'm seriously starting to wonder what her plan is. Like, what's going on with all this? I mean, like, part of this was to get her brother back, but she is going to get her brother back. He's just not all the way there yet, but I don't know. It just seems... I really don't know. I mean, like, she did express some regret that she was born a woman with the woman society role and stuff like that, but clearly she didn't make that much of it, whereas Shay, on the other hand, partially because of her upbringing, she's had to. Yeah. And also, now that Jaime is trying to marry the ex-wife of Robert's gay brother, what's going to happen to her now? Because as I think it's the Hound, you know, the guy that has barely any hair on the right side of his head puts it, she's just even more of a plaything now, until he just decides, you know what? Pfft, off her. He could. She's not going to be able to just walk right out of there. Right. So yeah, there's a few other tidbits that I could mention in here, but I think I hit the broader points for everything. This is just part 2 of a long saga that is going to get less and less well mapped out as the show goes along, because I know that obviously the show overtook George R. Martin's progress, even though that wasn't his intention. Yeah, we'll see, because I know the infamous reputation that the last season of this show has, along with one minor spoiler, but that's just because it showed a still of 2 main characters that haven't met in this show yet meeting, so we'll see what happens.